Hello everyone, this is Darcinovia here. I've returned from my hiatus, and unfortunately I didn't get Honor Amongst Thieves, completed. Apparently I'm just more interested in reading other parts of the Star Wars universe rather than the Rebellion era. So, for my 80th episode, I'm returning to the prequel era like I originally planned, but not with Outbound Flight, but with Adventures with Obi-Wan and Anakin. Of course, this is the second book of the Jedi Apprentice Special Edition, which is called The Followers. Unlike the first book, I think this one has a better plot. One thing I really like about these books actually is the first half of it focused on Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn, and their part of the plot connects to Obi-Wan and Anakin's 10 years later. I really wish there was a few more of these because I felt like it was a waste not doing more. This is about Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon trying to get a Sith holocron, and they can only get it like once every 10 years because of the planet's, the sea levels, go down every time there is two moons sync together. I forgot the names of the moons, sorry. And Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon don't get a chance to complete their mission. So 10 years later, a few years after the events of The Phantom Menace, Obi-Wan and Anakin finish what Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon started 10 years ago. Now, how is this book? What do I think of it? It's really hard to find, and it's out of print. I think the story is really good. At this point, Obi-Wan's still trying to grow accustomed to being a teacher because he still, doesn't feel confident in his abilities. And one thing I will admit is it kind of sucks that there aren't that many Obi-Wan and Anakin stories pre-Episode 2. There isn't many of them. And I can only count like 12 books, well, 13 if you count Rogue Planet, that have a young Obi-Wan and Anakin. Yeah, you could say Outbound Flight, but Outbound Flight's not really about them. They're just cameos. And it's refreshing to actually see, well, more like read about a young Obi-Wan and Anakin. And this is like the Jake Lloyd era of Anakin, before the Hayden Christensen. So there aren't that many stories revolving around an Anakin around the age of 10 to before they have the Hayden Christensen version. So I think if you're looking for a story with Obi-Wan and Anakin, I think I'd pick this up. It's rare, but it's not that expensive, actually. I don't know if it's that hard to find, from my experience. These have been out of print for a long time, and I would track it down. I wouldn't pay more than a certain amount for it, because I don't think it's worth paying probably more than $5 or $10. I wouldn't pay more than what this book originally cost. I mean, there isn't much material in here unless you're really hardcore and you want to read everything in the expanded universe, like myself, someday. I would track it down. I think it's a good story. I think on its own, I think it's a really good story. And also, it's one of the rare occasions where we get to read about Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. Just like the Jedi Apprentice novels, we get to read about adventures between the two characters. The only thing that sucks, though, this is the last novel featuring Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. It sucks. I mean, I really enjoyed their adventures together, and I really, like I said, I really wish there was more of these published. I wish they would have done a few more, because there's so many adventures they could have done with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn. And it's unfortunate that I feel like the pre-Episode 2 era and Episode 1 era, I'm talking about like when Obi-Wan was still a Padawan, isn't really explored enough. But I guess that's what happens when we listen to the OT elitists, even in some parts of the EU fandom. Sorry. I can't help it. Anyway, I think it's a good book. I'd pick it up. I give it a classic rating. I think it's really good. I'd check it out. Don't break your arm or leg for it. I'm talking about, I mean, not literally, but just don't destroy your finances just to get a copy of these. And hell, if the only way you could read this is pirating it, do that too. Anyway, may the Force be with you. And next time, I'm going to review the first book in the Jedi Quest series. Stay tuned, everyone, because this is going to be a long ride. I'm focusing primarily on the prequel era. If you don't see me uploading as frequently, that's because I'm reading some stuff post-Return of the Jedi. But I will not be reviewing those materials until way later in the future, because I'm more interested in reviewing the prequels. No, anyway, later, guys. See you guys next time.